Are you a first-time home buyer? Well, if this is the case, this video is perfect for you because I'm going to talk about programs and incentives about first-time home buying in Canada. So stay tuned because this can be one of the most important videos you'll ever have on house buying. The first one is 5% down payment rule. There's a massive myth surrounding the 5% rule that you can only buy your first home using 5% down payment. Well, that's not true. It is an owner occupied incentive, which means even though it could be your 10th home and your other 9 properties could be investment properties, you can still buy your 10th home putting 5% down payment. The primary qualification is that you should intend to occupy that property. There are other specific qualifications that you should be aware of as well. For example, if you're buying a house worth $600,000, the first 5% rule only applies to the first $500,000, which means for the first $500,000 you would pay $25,000 down payment. Anything above $500,000 to $1 million, you would pay 10% of that. So the remaining 100,000 you would have to pay $10,000 on that, which makes your down payment $25,000 plus $10,000 equals $35,000 for that house. So now the hack is not everyone can qualify for this 5% down payment rule, especially if you're new to Canada. If you're new to Canada, you are going to have to build a strong credit and also have a little bit credit history of where you are making timely payments on your credit bills. First time home buyer incentive. So now let's discuss this first time home buyer incentive. This is a government program that offers a shared equity model for your down payment support. That's pretty much that what the government came up with if you are not able to save up enough for your down payment. And I am going to give you this example how this works out. So suppose you are purchasing a home, a resale home for $400,000. With the first time home buyer incentive, you will be able to apply for 5% towards your down payment. That would be $20,000, and let's just assume after 5 years you want to sell the property. However, when you want to sell the property, you would have to pay back this money at an appreciated value, which means if after few years you sell the property for $480,000, you have to pay the 5% of your original value, which is $20,000. And so if the value of the house increased to $480,000 when you selling it, so you would have to owe the government $20,000 plus an additional amount of $4,000 determined by the increase in value of your house. So understanding this shared equity model is very necessary prior to signing up to it. The next one is purchase plus improvement plan. This is one of my favorite programs because here you're buying your home plus the bank is also giving you some money to do some renovations or improvements in your home, which will potentially appreciate the value of your property. I've seen a lot of people use this money to install legal basement in their house, which helps them earn rental income, potentially help them in their monthly income. Now let me give you an example. Assume you're buying a home for $500,000. Under this program, you'll be eligible for $40,000, up to $40,000 in improvements, which means your total is now $540,000. Assume you pay 10% down payment, you would have to pay $54,000 as a down payment, and you would get back $40,000 for your improvements, which you will help hire a contractor, improve your house, whatever you want to do. There are a few watchouts that you would have to do in order to make sure that you're eligible for this program, which is your house can be maximum of 4 units, and one of those units should be owner occupied. And The other thing is your income have to be qualifying for the additional value of the mortgage that your house is going to be approved, and you can't max out on your house eligibility, right? And the last thing that you would have to worry about is the potential added cost of appraisal, which could be 500 to $1,000 of additional costs that you would have to bear. The next one is lands transfer tax rebate. I'm going to briefly touch on this topic is because when you're buying your first home in Ontario, you would be able to get substantial tax rebate. And I will advise on Ontario, and we'll also briefly touch Alberta and British Columbia as well. So in Ontario, you would be able to get a tax rebate of up to $4,000 outside Toronto and up to $8,000 uh, in Toronto area. And for BC, you would get full rebate up to $500,000. And while in Alberta, there will be no land transfer tax, and you and you will get this tax rebate as part of your closing costs. And now let's talk about eligibility of this. There is only one eligibility for this, that it has to be your first home any part of the world. For example, if you have any other property in any part of the world like India, US, or maybe Mexico, right? And now you want to buy a home, but this home is your first home in Canada, so that will make you ineligible because this is not your first home, right? So that's the most important eligibility for this program. So now let's discuss home buyers plan. This is a plan where you can withdraw money from your RRSP account. I will explain how this works. Imagine yourself and your spouse have both saved up $35,000 each in your RRSP account. That would make it $70,000 in RRSP, right? So if you're buying your first home, both you and your spouse can withdraw $35,000 each, making you eligible for $70,000 withdrawal from your RSP account without any tax implications. That would You would be able to put it towards your first home, right? But the hack is you would have to pay this money back into your RSP account in next 15 years, which is a very long time. And trust me, I have taken a leverage of this plan as well. When I bought my first property in 2019, it was for my primary residence. I withdrew at that time. I think the limit was $25,000 only, which has now increased to $35,000 now. I withdrew $25,000 then, uh, earning me tax credits in subsequent years. But now I have to return that money uh, back into my RRSP account, which is okay. And I think the payment that I have to put in every year now is about, I think, just over $1,650. And but it is a really good plan. I have personally taken advantage of this at that time. One of the primary eligibility for this is you have to put that money into your RRSP account 90 days before your withdrawal, which means you're not able to just put your money today and you go to the bank a week later. Hey, I want to withdraw my money out because I want to buy my home. No, that's not going to happen. In order for you to withdraw your money after 3 months, you have to put it into your RSP account today. So you have to be mindful of that. So the next one we are going to talk is first home savings account. Well, this was a unique account launched by the federal government. I think it was started on 1st April of 2023. And this account is for first time home buyers, of course, and it allows you to withdraw up to $40,000 without for towards your first home without any tax implications on it. So what is it? So this is a unique combination of RRSP and TFSA account. And the way it works is you are able to put $8,000 per year, and you would get tax credits on that, and your lifetime contribution towards this account could be $40,000. And when you're buying your first home, you would be able to withdraw this money towards your down payment. And if you and the very good thing is, unlike RRSP, you do not have to pay it back, and that is a very cool thing that the government did. But there are a couple of things that you have to be wary about eligibility for this account. The first one is, this has to be your first home and your primary residence. And the last exception is, you have to make the withdrawal within 30 days of moving into your new home. So the next one we are going to talk is home buyer tax credit. I'll explain how it works. It allows you to deduct your taxable income by $10,000 when filing your taxes. So if you're buying your first home in Canada, remind your accountant to claim for these benefits. I'll give you an example how it works. Let's assume you make $100,000 this year, and you buy your first home in Canada. So next year when you file taxes, you can claim this $10,000 tax credit, and you will only get taxed on $90,000, which would lead to potential savings for you. So the last one I'm going to talk about is GST HST Housing Rebate. So if you have signed an offer for a new property or planning to sign for one, you might be eligible for this. Well, I'm going to give you an example here. So for example, if you've bought a brand new condo for $450,000, right? So and this purchase, let's assume you're going to use this as your primary residence. So this should qualify for GST HST rebates. And most of this time, this rebate is already included in the purchase price of your home. For example, when I bought my first property and even on my second property, this was already included in the purchase price of the home, which means I didn't have to pay any HST on my home. So now to wrap it up, this was my comprehensive collection on 8 first time home buyer programs that you will be able to find in Canada, and that will potentially help you with buying your first home in Canada. If you really find this video helpful, I would really appreciate if you subscribe to my channel. I promise you I will keep coming back every week with content like this. So for now, stay tuned, subscribe and share this video.